to light. Morning takes over the night. Another beautiful day dawns. A very good morning to honored all. It's my immense pleasure to welcome you all for our today's webinar on infusing cloud computing services and artificial intelligence in Microsoft Azure, organized by the UG Department of Computer Applications, Bishop Heber College, Trichy. Prayer. Prayer is exhaling the spirit of man and inhaling the spirit of God. This shows a devotion of man towards God, who is above human varieties of desires and dreams. Let's together seek the blessings of the Lord Almighty and show our devotion for the ultimate success of this venture. Now I kindly invite Mrs. Olivia Capitola ma'am to begin the prayer.
Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom and support. As we are gathered here today for a webinar, send us your Holy Spirit to be our guide and give us the wisdom to understand every topic that we are going to discuss. Give us the desire to find ways to excel in our work. We thank you, Father, for this precious time. All this we pray through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, one God forever. Amen.
Thank you, ma'am. Smile is the universal welcome. A small cheer and great welcome echoes cardiality. Now I request our head of the department, Dr. James Manogaran sir, to welcome honored all gathered online here.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of DCA department, I welcome you all at today's webinar. It's my great honor and privilege to welcome our beloved principal, Dr. D. Paul Dayabaran sir, for giving us his consent and support in all our endeavors. I welcome you, sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome our today's chief guest, Mr. Arun Mariyappan sir, who is going to share your valuable knowledge with us. I welcome you, sir. I would also like to welcome the convener, organizing secretaries, and the students organizers. I especially want to welcome our colleagues and all other faculty members, research scholars, and the students from various reputed institutions. I'm very glad to say that we are in one junction to extend our knowledge. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Patience, persistence, and perspiration makes an unbeatable combination for success. Now I invite our assistant professor, Dr. M. Kasturi ma'am, to introduce the chief guest to the gathering.
Morning to one and all gathered here in this webinar. I'm very much privileged and happy to introduce our resource person, Mr. A. Arun Mariyappan, Associate Technical Manager, Pramadi Technologies, Bangalore. His academic profile includes BSc Computer Science and MCA. Apart from this, he has done many Microsoft certificates on App Builder, Azure Administration, and Dynamics 365. He is having 15 years of experience in IT industry using Microsoft.NET technologies, and at present working as an associate manager in Pramadi Technologies Private Limited, Bangalore. I'm also very proud to introduce that he is a part of our Heber family and he is an illustrious alumnus. He done his MCA course from 2002 to 2005 of Bishop Heber College. On behalf of Bishop Heber Management and BCA department, we are very happy to welcome you, sir.
Thank you so much.
COVID-19 may have locked down the globe, but don't let it put our learning on hold. Let us knock down the lockdown by gaining knowledge by this webinar. Over to resource person, Mr. K. Arun Mariyappan, sir. Kindly start the session, sir.
Okay, thank you. Very good morning to all, and thank you so much for your welcome note, and then to the Bishop Heber College, the UG department and the PG department, all the students, to let me to have my session here. I'm also so much thrilled to just come back as an alumni and then share my knowledge with you all. So let's start the session. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Suresh.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay, let's put an agenda here before getting started. So I'm going to start with, let's say, basics of the cloud computing. And then slowly we'll move on to the what are the different types of the cloud we have and what are the models. And then we'll move on to the Azure, the main objective of the session. And we'll see what are the different services and how the Azure works behind the scene. And then we'll see the key topics of the today's session. How the computing, the Azure computing or cloud computing and an artificial intelligence in a real-time scenario. So how it is going to relate to the real-time scenarios. Let's get started. Okay, let's start with a simple phrase. Actually, this is I like this phrase. So we talk about cloud computing a lot, but actually speaking, there is no cloud or there is no network related to cloud. It's all about someone else's computer or infrastructures. So nothing fuss about any clouds. Why we call as a cloud? It's the entire, let's say, the infrastructure around the continent, around the country, around the globe. It has been interconnected with the servers to each service, like a cloud, and cloud what we see around the globe. So that's the reason we call it as a cloud. So we all connected, all the infrastructure is connected to each other. Before getting into the cloud computing, let's see why the cloud computing evolves and what is the problem in the previous structure. So let's say any organization or any education institution, anything. So when you're talking about IT infrastructure or IT services, you need to own a lot of servers. When it's depend upon your number of the resources and the availability. So you will invest a lot of amount, a lot of resources there, and also you pay a lot of upfront cost. The second main thing is you need to maintain it. Maintain it from the software aspect. You need to regularly maintain your servers, update it. You need to update the firmwares. You need to update the security, you need to take care of the security, the firewalls, and also the physical security. Physical security in the sense you need a physical person to guard your servers, make sure it is not have damaged. Those all aspects are there. On top of that, you need to maintain the servers with electricity, all other stuffs actually. And it's not easily scalable, it's scalable. Let's say you have a sudden huge demand when you need a lot, let's say additional few more servers or a few more resources. You need to raise a request or need to get an approval from your department, and it is go through procurement and it comes back, and then again it's not easily scalable. So those are the problems in the legacy infrastructure. It comes to the cloud computing. So you will be able to, basically it is like a renting services. You will be able to rent or maybe lease services or resources from a service provider on demand. Whenever you need it, you just go and then in a few clicks, you just get it from the service provider. And also it will be available within a minute. You don't need to wait for a days or approval. All this happens within a minute. And good thing is about is you only pay for what you use actually. It's not, you are not going to pay for the infrastructure. You're not going to pay the security. You're going to pay only for the services, what you're using and the time you're using it. That is a very good point here actually. So when I'm using, let's say any services on a specific time or maybe a specific number of requests, incoming requests, outgoing requests, we only pay for that specific amount of services. So that's all good about the cloud computing. So these are the key cloud service providers currently in the market. One is Microsoft Azure. The second one is Amazon Web Services. The thing is, Amazon came into the race earlier before than Azure. They come into the picture by 2008, I guess, and later Azure came into 2010. And then Google Cloud also provides a lot of cloud services. But the leading market, Amazon, from the, let's say, from the revenue perspective and the usage perspective, Amazon leads in the market. There are other cloud providers, service providers are also there, like IBM and Oracle. They also provide services. But compared to the market share and then the revenue aspects, these are the three key cloud service providers. Okay. So we talk about the legacy structure, and we're talking about cloud computing and the infrastructures. We use those jargons and words. Let's see how things are working. Let's say how the things are working behind the scenes. How they're able to connect the entire, let's say, the entire continent or entire world throughout the network and how the things are working behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, I think data centers. The data centers, the network, how they're managing it, how they're able to scale it up, how they provide it in a very less cost and how it is manageable. So we can see a short 1-minute video. I hope you will get thrilled. And let's see, and then we can correlate the things what we have talked about so far. Yeah, you saw it, right? So these are the things actually. So they have multiple, we saw in a video about the Azure. So they have many data centers. Whatever you see a specific building, those are the data center, and we have n number of racks and the servers, and then they are interconnected, and it has the backup services, and it has everything you can see it, right? So everything is interconnected. They have millions of cores, and they handle millions of requests. So we do have these kind of data centers across the globe. That's how it is interconnected, and then we're able to connect each other. Let's see about the different types of cloud computing. The first is the private. So basically the private cloud computing, right? So you have a cloud infrastructure, but it will be restricted to your organization or a specific education institution. So it will be like to compare it is like locked interconnected. So the resources or let's say the missions, everything will be shared only in the private way, and it will be only available to within the organization, and it will be connected within a specific network, within a fiber, and it will optionally connect to the external world, through the internet. And the data will be fully secured, completely secured, because that's the main reason many organizations and an enterprise choose a private network and then stay back there. Second one is the public one. So this is the one where you rely on a third-party service provider like Azure or Amazon Web Services. You will be sharing the resources among the other peoples, and it will be multi-domain. Multi-domain in the sense it can be accessed in various cities and various countries within your colleagues and then your services. And it's fully connected over intranet, and the data will be secured by the service provider, not from your side actually. The third one is the hybrid, where this is mostly a large-scale enterprises, corporates will go for this option, where they have already heavily invested on those infrastructures. So what they do it, right? So they keep certain amount of infrastructure like the servers, there are certain things they will be keeping it in their level, let's say the on-premises, basically there in the organization. And let's the other services like the virtual machines, application hosting, application deployment. So there will be those aspects of databases, those aspects will be moved to the cloud. So this model will be called as like a hybrid model. So some sort of resources will be there in the on-premises and some resources will be there in the cloud. Basically to scale up easily and then to share the resources easily. So that is the main reason the hybrid model still many corporate and organizations will follow. Before getting into the model, I just wanted to touch some basics about why we are here actually, why we are here in this current cloud computing scenario. Let's talk about a small about the server evolutions. Okay, so this is the typical the server. When you say 2 decades back, this is how the server it was. When you talk about server, it will typically your desktop, like your home desktop. There will be one server, a machine which has that hardware. On top of your operating system will be running, and you have applications. You will be having an application, you will have a web server. This is how, whenever there is a need on a new application you want to host, you will be keep on buying n number of servers, and then it goes on. There is a problem there. So then comes the virtual machines. So virtual machines, there is no much differences here. The good thing is, right, instead of spending on a specific server, we will be buying, let's say a server with the, let's say, the high capability, where let's say a 16 core of CPUs, and let's say 32 GB of RAM or 64 GB of RAM, and it has the large terabytes of hard disks. So what happens here is there is something called hypervisor. Basically, you are virtualizing and then sharing those hardware resources to the different VMs. So what we can do, right, using that, let's say a 16 core is available in this machine, I can create a 4 core and 8 GB of RAM and create this one VM. And then I can create a 2 core and 4 GB of RAM and one more VM. I can use based on this, and then I can keep on creating a number of VMs with the available of the hardware resources. So at any point of time, you can manage this, or you can scrap it, and then you can just go for a new one also. So that is the good thing about it. So you can able to run many virtual machines within a specific, say, hardware using the hypervisor. Basically, VMware is the one company which is does this hypervisor technology. So this VMware is nothing but a hypervisor. So this, when we saw in the previous session, slide, right? So this is what. So we have the physical server, we have the CPUs, memories, network cards, and disk. We have the hypervisor running on top of this machine, and we'll be able to span many VMs, and then each VM will have the purpose, right? Why we create a VM? So that's any purpose. We'll run some application, we'll have some web servers, we'll run some specific scenarios. So the problem with the virtual machines here, right? So it need a lot of utilizations. Let's say even you run a simple web application, your company website or maybe any of the applications, you need a single VM, and you will be using a lot of utilization here and consume a lot of memory. And the boot time is more, actually boot time in the sense when you are restarting this machine, 3 boot ups will happen. So one from each instance of your VMs. So the current trend here is containers actually. So I'm not telling you should go with the containers, but the thing is, let's say when you are using for your real-time educational other purposes, still the virtual machine is the way to go. But when it comes to the real-time application deployments or scaling up, then the container is the better to go. Why, I'll tell you. So the same structure here, nothing changed. Instead of the hypervisor, we have one OS, but on top of that, we have the container engine. The container engine share the operating system resources and then able to run each and individual applications in a container, like a box. So what happens here, right? So whenever the application runs, then only it's talk to the operating system and get the resources. So instead of having each and every, let's say, VM have a separate OS. The good thing you hear about, right? Think about a Flipkart or Amazon, anybody, they have a container system. So that is why any sales or any, let's say, seasonal sales going on, or you have every day or a weekly releases happening, the container is the easiest way to deploy and then things that make sure the application are up and running within a short time of period. So let's see about the cloud model. Okay, so this is the one which we talked about, the on-premises. So you own everything. So you can see the blue one, everything you own it, from the networking, storages, servers, virtualizations, operating systems, middleware, runtimes, data, everything. You are the owner of the entire things. That is meant on-premises. So the infrastructure as a services. So when the network, storage, with virtualizations, those aspects will be provided by the vendor, the service providers. The rest of the things like maintaining applications, the data, the runtime, the middleware, operating system, you will be responsible. A very good example for the infrastructure as a service is creating a virtual machine on the cloud. Next is the container service, as I told in the previous slide. So you will be having all the similar to the infrastructure as a service, but the one thing is you will be, don't worry about the operating system and middleware. You create a container and then deploy it on the container service of the service provider. Next is the platform as a service. So you don't worry about the virtual machines, you don't worry about the containers, but you want to do something. Let's say you want to deploy some stuff. Let's say take in a web application or any services. You want to deploy it in the cloud and available for your external customers. So then here comes to the platform as a service. A very good example for the platform as a service is web applications, hosting and web applications, those aspects. Next is the function as a services. So here, right, so I don't want to own an application, but I want to do some set of, let's say, functionality, calculations or certain number of functions, scenarios I want to do it. Then you can go for the function as a service provided by the cloud provider. Let's say on a certain workflow or a scenario, I want to send an email, I want to do some workflow, I want to do something. You can use the function as a services. Next is the software as a services, where you don't do anything, you own anything, you just come and access to your internet and then you just use the services provided. For example, you can take Gmail, Dropbox, whatever the services, those are all Netflix, those are software as a services. You just go into the site or website and then you use the services. Those are called software as a services. Yeah, so we saw the different models, right? Infrastructure, containers, platforms, everything, right? So you can just see about a simple analogy, basically an analogy, how this differs from the real-time scenario. Many of you like pizzas. So let's take a pizza as an analogy here. So here you can see here, right? So I have, let's say, I have comparison here, like hardware, virtualizations, OS, and runtime, and scaling and functions configurations. Let's say if you are preparing your pizza in your home, everything from the oven, preparing a dough, electricals, gases, and having it. So that is called on-premises. Basically, that is called your homemade actually. So you don't have an oven in your home, but you have the dough. So this is like a community service. You go to a place and then you just prepare that and then you just have it. This is like a community service, kitchen as a service. This is like an infrastructure as a service. The containers as it's still you relying on the external services, but you go there and you are responsible for firing up and then all those aspects actually. You decide when to fire and how to control everything aspects. Platform as a service, it is you go to the let's say the pizza restaurant, take the pizza, come back home and then have it. So function as a service, it is like go to a restaurant, you just stay there, have a conversation with your friends and then you just come back. The final is software as a services. You do nothing. You just go to any parties and then have a pizza and then come back. So you have a very minimal effort. So that's it. Okay. Let's talk about Azure. Okay. So overall, I just want to tell before getting into the Azure, I want to overall tell this is the hierarchy of the Azure services provider. So at the level, at the top level, something they call groups, management groups. You can just correlate this management groups like your college. Let's take a Bishop College. You have many, let's say academic, right? In undergraduate, postgraduate. Within the graduation, you have many departments, chemistry department, physics department. So for example, if let's say Bishop is going for a cloud computing, so you need to have a separate groups to maintain all those students and those aspects, right? So we can have a different groups here, so that will be easy for you to maintain. And each and every group can have a subscription. So subscription in the sense, this is exact the same subscription what we normally would go for like a Prime or Netflix, right? The same way. You can have a separate subscription for your computer science department. So that's where you can easily maintainable. And when it comes for the invoice, when you're monthly, when you're going to pay for that service, that will be easy for it. When I have, instead of, if you don't have a services separated, at the end of the, let's say, month, it will be a little confusing what resource takes more and what is not less. So having a subscription at the each and every group level, that will be a little easy for us. And finally, it is all about the resource group. Resource group is nothing but think about a folder. In a typical, you have a folder, right? Like a 7-point folder. Resource group is nothing but it contains all the resources what you're going to create in the Azure cloud. So it will be easy. Why we need a resource group? Basically, it will be easy for you to give access to any users, to monitor, to just take a backups to those aspects. So when it is in a separate group, it will be easy for us to have it. Let's say we can create a resource group for let's say MCA department under the computer science let's say group, and we can create one more resource group for the let's say postgraduate. We can have a separate resource group. We can have all those resources like that. Okay, this is the Azure geography actually. So you can here see, right, and we saw in the video, we saw many servers and racks in the data center, right? So the blue dots, what you see here, this is the availability regions. So each and every regions will have n number of data centers, depend upon the region. It will be minimum 1, more than 3. So each and every region will have, I mean, you can see in South India, Central India, and West India. We have around the globe, we have many regions, and each every data center runs there. So availability zone is, you can see the dot blue with a white dot, right? That is the availability zone. Basically, right, so there is a chances some natural problem or maybe natural disaster or maybe any other physical disaster can happen to the data center. That the cases you may be lost to resources, right? So the availability zone, what happens, what it does, right? It will every day, every minute, it's keep creating a replica, basically taking a backup to the nearest availability zone. So let's say in South India, let's say something goes wrong, maybe a rain or maybe a cyclone or anything happens. The availability zone will save you by having a backup. So within a few minutes, you will be back to the business without, impacting on your resources, Azure cloud resources. So this is the actual network. This is how they're interconnected. You can see here, right? So they have a dedicated line from, across the continent, across the region and countries. They have the dedicated lines and then some of them are their own, like some of them are leased with the other third-party service providers. So this is how the Azure networks interconnected. Okay, let's get into the Azure. We just talked about the basics so far. So let's get into the Azure. So how I start using Azure services. So let's go there. Okay, I have given the link in the presentation. So when it comes to the Azure services, the good thing is it's providing you a free service for 12 months without any upfront cost. So when you create an account, so all you can do is just go and click on the start free account. I hope many of you have Microsoft Live account. If doesn't, you have a Microsoft Live account, I recommend you to go and create a Live account. Once you create a Live account, and then you need a card actually, basically here, you need a card. You may be asked why I need a card here. The main thing here is to maintain the identity of the person or don't misuse the services. So you need a card and your Live account to create a free Azure freelance account. And you don't have to worry about it, not like other subscriptions, maybe they won't charge you unless you decide to go and upgrade it. So you will not be charged, so you don't have to worry about it. So once you create a Azure account with using a Live account, so you'll be getting a 13,300 rupees credit on your Azure account that you can be used for your different Azure services. When you are creating you can create a VM, you can host an applications. Those whenever you are using those services, these credit will be considered based on that. On top of that, there are 12 months free services. There are some popular services out there that will be free for the 12 months. And also there are some 25 services, even though if you are not decided to upgrade after this credit point has been consumed, you can use the same account and then you can use the 25 services for lifetime free. So let's see what are the 12 services they are providing. So you can have a virtual machine, a LNet virtual machine, a Windows virtual machines for 750 hours. You have the capability to use those machines, but for 750 hours, we have the storage capacities, other SQL databases, other stuffs here. So what is the free for my entire lifetime free? You can have 10 app services, which you're going to see in the upcoming slides. You can create with Cosmos DB. You can have the function as a services. This is the containers which I'm talking about, Azure Kubernetes services, and a lot. So a lot of other services are there. You can do automations. You can do virtual networking. So those are the services. It will be lifetime free. So once you create an account and go to the portal, which is portal.azure.com, which I'm already logged in here. Let's just quickly walk through what is this all about. Once you log in, so you have the navigations to see all the services provided by the Azure. And at any point of time, you can go and search for a new resources from here by clicking on the create new resources, or you can search from here. Okay, and you will be getting a notifications here whenever you just create a new services or other notifications, you will get it. And also you can change the look and feel of your portal here. You can change the look and feel, how do you want it, what are the theme you like it, everything you can just manage it. And also you can have multiple accounts. When you have a multiple accounts, you can change the directories and then you can do with the accounts. So let's quickly go into the Azure services and then get started using it. Okay, so now what we're going to do, right? So the main purpose of this session is computing and artificial intelligence. So we're going to create a virtual machines in the Azure within less than 5 minutes, and basically just setting up and then creating it. So let's go there and then create it quickly. So we can, the good thing, one more thing about tell it. So whenever you hover on this specific any services, right? For example, if I hover on this virtual machines, you got a link here. So if at all you're not sure about what is virtual machine or app service or other services, you have a short intro video or a maybe training video. You can just click on it and then go and watch it. You get a clear-cut idea about what all these services are all about. Okay, let's go and create a virtual machine right now. Okay. I'm going to create one virtual machine. Okay, this is my subscription. I just let it by default. So I'm going to create this is the one we talked about, the resource group, the container of all our services. I'm going to create a new resource group. I'm going to call it as a Bishop Azure webinar. So all my resources going to be from on this today's session, all the resources what they have created, it is going to go and sit there in the Bishop webinar. I'm going to give a name for my VM. This is the name of my VM. I'm going to call it as a Azure Cloud VM. So I'm going to deploy it. You can have an option to deploy it where you want it. I'm going to keep it as in a US, East US. The rest of the things I'll keep it as it is. Here comes the images. So what operating system you want? Whether you want a Linux or the Linux flavor, you have the options here, or you want to go with the Windows Server option or a Windows, let's say home use, basically 10 or something. I'll go with the Windows 10 here. Okay. So next comes the sizes. So what power of what are the size of your VM? So select the size here. This is typically like your shirt or maybe a size is actually different category size. They have a predefined sizes like a B series. They call this a B series, D series, E series. So let's say for what is a B series, a B2MS. So it's typically a 2-core CPU and it has an 8 GB of RAM and it has a capability of 4 hard disks at any point of time. They give a temporary 16 GB storage and it supports a premium hard disk like SSD on those aspects. There are other sizes also there. Those are pretty huge actually. They have categories. These are all general purpose CPUs. To go a little further, right? These are all memory optimized D series. Those are all like 8 cores, 56 GB of RAM. It can support up to 36. You can go further. Those are high performance. You can see the 16 cores, 224 GB of RAM. And here are the cost here. You can see on the cost on the right side, you can see the cost here. This is going to cost you per month actually. Those are all like enterprise level things. You have a GPU specific sizes also there. You can see the highest thing. Let me go down. You can see here at 40 cores of CPU, 672 GB of RAM. It's going to cost you like 1,93,000 on a per month. So yeah, these are high scale. You don't worry about it. We'll stick to the default, B series. I'm going to select one. This is pretty decent for my daily usage. And just create an account here. I'm going to call it as an admin login. This is your typical username to log into the VM. Okay, so I'm going to enable the HTTP port so we can connect from here to that machine from through here. So I'm just using those 3 options. We need this specifically RTP. This RTP protocol is basically to the remote desktop connectivity protocol. So we need this option. So the rest of the things I'll keep it by default. Okay. So there are 3 options for your operating system disk. Whether you want a premium as disk or you want to go for the typical. When you go for the premium, you pay a little extra, but for the normal users, you can go with the standard hard disk. The networking, I'm not going to touch. I'm going to keep it as it is. So the management, I'm just offering the boot diagnostic. This is for the monitoring purpose. The rest of the things, I'll keep it as it is. Let's review and create it. Okay, I didn't accept the terms and conditions. So here you can see it, right? So when I just, based on my size and then my requirement and the operating system, it's going to cost me 5 rupees 50 paise, rupees per hour. It's per hour actually. So when you are on this VM and running it for 1 hour, you will pay only 5.5 rupees. That's it. So I think I started by 11:36 or something like that. I think within 3-4 minutes, we just created a VM. We're going to take some couple of minutes to create this VM. We'll come back and then we'll try to do an RDP to this. So it's going to create a network, NIC card, network, operating systems, everything. It's going to deploy. It's going to take some couple of minutes. In the meantime, we'll go to the next topic and then we'll come back later. So next is the platform as a service. So here what we're going to do, right? So this is to showcase what is the platform as a service. I'm having a simple web application in my local machine. I have just created using a Visual Studio. I'm going to deploy that web application to the cloud. Okay. So I have created a simple web application. Many of you know ASP.NET and .NET Framework. I just created a .NET web application. It's a simple web application. It has that Bishop Weber, let's say, Bishop Weber page, welcome page, and it is talk about a hi welcome there. So this runs in my local. If I run this in my local, and I have a payment welcome page here, it's run from my local. What I'm going to do here, right? I'm going to just deploy this web application to the cloud, and I'm going to expose this web application to the external world, to the public intranet within a few minutes. Okay, the build is getting started. I'm using an ASP.NET framework, ASP.NET framework. It's an MVC application. So it's a simple web page, a 2-page, a welcome page, and just a contact page. So this we're going to deploy to the Azure using the app services. The app services, we're going to consume this one. So it's in progress. Let's come back later. I'm going to use this app services. So you don't need to worry about your VM. You don't need to own an IaaS. Internet Information Server, or you need to host any, you don't own any web server. You can create a web service, app service, and then deploy your application to the Azure on cloud. So let's see whether the page is loaded here. Yeah, it's loaded now. You can see here it's a simple, pretty application. It is also responsive design. So yeah, it's a pretty decent application. It's running from my local. What I'm going to do now here, right? So I'm going to just deploy this to the cloud. So what I need to do, okay, maybe I forgot to mention one thing. I'm using Visual Studio 2010 and 2019. You can also go and download the Visual Studio 2019 Community Edition. That is a free for any, let's say, any student or any non-profit organization. So feel free to download the Visual Studio Community Edition, and then you can start exploring on it. I'm using the licensed version. So I'm going to right click on the project and then I'm saying publish. I'm just saying publish. And there are the publish options are there. So I have the Azure. I can deploy this web application on cloud. This is the Docker, the container system, what we talked about it. And these are the local. I can deploy it in the local mission also, the same mission also. But I'm going to deploy it in the Azure. Okay, we don't have any existing app services, so I'm going to create a new app services. Okay, I'll say this is as a Bishop webinar. And by default, the hosting plan and the subscription and where it is gonna create it. I think this is the one we created today, right? The resource group. The app service is gonna sit in this, Bishop Azure webinar. Let's create it. I already logged in with my account, so it is by default, it is taking it. So the subscription, other steps, it's automatically loaded. Okay, let's see whether the VM is got right created, where we are. Yep, I think we have the VM here. In the meantime, we'll come back here. Okay, you can see the VM is ready, the Bishop Cloud VM. So you have the public IP address where you can use this public IP address and then connect to that machine. Let's do that. I'm copying that one. I'm going to use the command mstsc. That's the command to invoke the RTP, the remote connectivity. This is my IP address. From there, I'm going to connect there. Okay, it's still in progress. Let's come back later. It's the final, let's see, the final virtual machine is still in progress. You can see it's in still progress. The rest of the things are done. Let's go back here. Okay, the application app service creation is done. It's finished. Okay, it's ready for the publish. All I'm going to do is just click on the publish button. All my code, it is going to compile and then going to packaged and then deploy to this specific URL, the bishopwebinar.azurewebsites.net, and it is going to deploy it in my subscription. Once it's deployed, I can share this URL to you all. You can access, and then you can, if you have an internet connection, you can access this Bishop welcome page, this Bishop webinar welcome page, and then anybody can access. Now you can see, right, it's take me a few minutes just to create and publish and web application and then post it to the internet. It doesn't take much to create a DNS, procuring the server, maintaining it. We didn't spend much time. Within a few minutes, I'm able to host a web application in the cloud, and it is going to ready for the public use. Yeah, you can see here, right? My files are getting packaged, and then it is deployed to the cloud, to the subscription which I can have here. Let's just wait for a minute. It will be done. Yeah, it's done. Okay, it's open. You can see here, right? It's not from a local. It's not from a local. I'm going to put it in my chat window. I think the chat is disabled right now. But anyway, you can just read this actually. I'm going to zoom it. You can, anybody having an internet connection, you can just say bishopwebinar.azurewebsites.net. If you just browse this URL, you will be able to see the Bishop welcome page in the cloud, basically in the cloud. It is in the public right now. Yep, we got it. So you can just go and then you can just type it. Yeah, I'm going to paste this URL. The URL is in the chat window. Feel free to just go and explore on it. Let's go back to the VM. Yeah, it's done. The VM is ready. Let's go to the resources now. So click on the virtual machine. This is the one which we created it. I'm copying back the IP address. Yep. So this is my the username I just given to login, admin login, admin. Just give me the password which I given. Yep, your VM is ready now for your usage. Yeah, I'm logging in now. We have the Windows 10. So if you see here, right? So this is a very good example for the infrastructure as a service. So I didn't go anywhere and didn't buy any server. I didn't manage installing the operating systems. I didn't do anything. I just rely on the, let's say, the third-party service provider, and I created a VM, and it is ready for my use. So let's take in real-time example, right? Now we are in the pandemic situations. So you guys are maybe, let's say, many organizations and schools are leveraging the online sessions using the, let's say, the Zoom and other aspects. But when it comes to the labs, right, many people won't have the, let's say, a pretty decent, let's say, laptop or a desktop in their home. So the organizations, they can leverage this infrastructure as a service. They can expand many VMs according to the usage and then share those details to the people. With a decent, simple, internet connectivity, whoever have internet connectivity, they can just RTP these VMs and then you can go and then play around it. Yeah. Yeah, we have the VM here. This is the exact the VM which we asked for. The 2 core and the 8 GB of RAM. You can see it's a 2 core and 8 GB of RAM. It's on Windows 10 right now. All right. I'm going to disconnect here. Maybe I'm going to put this give this IP address, and then I'm gonna let you I want any one volunteer just go and do an RTP. Put this command msdc and then enter this IP, and this is the username and password. Don't try to do a multiple login, just do any one of us. This is the password. Okay, so let's go back to the presentation. So we saw the infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, a simple web application within a minute. It's available in the cloud and it is ready for the usage, public usage. Think about any real-time application is ready for use. Let's move to the next topic. Okay, so Azure provides, out-of-the-box built-in artificial intelligence services and machine learning services. We maybe heard about a lot of these jargons and words like artificial intelligence, that is going to be the future. Machine learning is the way to everywhere we talk about it. But that is a pretty deep knowledge needed and a deep curve learning is needed. But Azure and other, let's say, third-party service providers, they already put a lot of effort in R&D, and then they have providing these, let's say, these technologies as a services. So all you need to do is, as a consumer, you just choose those services and then use it in a real time within a few minutes. So these are the different services provided by the Azure. We're going to see a couple of them. One is the artificial intelligence face detection. The second one is computer vision. And also we're going to see about the speech translation. We're going to translate the text from one language to the another language. Okay, just quickly get into the demo. Okay, I'm going to close this one and open my, I have a sample here. I have a sample local, I have an example there. So how I start actually? So that sounds good. When artificial intelligence out of the box, it sounds good, but how will I do it actually? So all you need to do it, right? So we saw this category here right now. So we saw the compute section, we saw the virtual machine, and then we saw the web app which we deployed in the cloud. Now we're going to go to the AI and machine learning. You can see there are the built-in features available. First, we're going to see the face. Then we'll go to the computer vision, and then we go to the speech. Okay, let's go to the face. All you need to do is just give a name for your service. The face service which is going to be exposed. So create a service. I would say it's a Bishop Face API 2. And you can choose the tier. Basically, what is the pricing tier? And I'm going to create it in the webinar. Okay. So you just click on it. It's going to create immediately. I'm not going to do it because I already have it in my local one. I already created one. So let's go to that one. So this is my subscription. This is the one which I'm talking about, the resource groups. Okay, so I already have, under my Bishop webinar, I already have these services is already created. Okay, so you can see here, right? This is one which I created with the Face API. So the Face service I have just invoked the Face Azure AI, artificial intelligence. Click on it. Okay. So in the quick start, right, you have a detailed explanation how to get started on this actually. So how to get started on this. So what we're going to do right here. So when you go to the click on the quick start, you have the detail of the API, basically the how we're going to use it. You can see in this API, we have multiple methods are there, but we're going to concentrate only on the Face method. And these are the input parameters which we're going to pass into that API. You can see here, right? Do we need a landmarks? The landmarks is nothing but you want to detect the face and then give the values. And you expecting the face attributes, or do you want to know where is the nose, where is the eyes, where is whether he have the bald or he's have a long hair, what is the color of the hair, what is the recognition model, how we recognize it, he's a male or a female. So those are the input parameters you need to pass to this API, and then you can leverage it. Okay, I'm going to invoke this, I'm going to utilize this API through a C# programming. You can also do it using Python or other JavaScript and other languages also. People who don't have a programming language, you can use this, let's say the online version. You can pass your subscription key, which I'm going to tell how to consume it. You can click on the subscription key and pass the subscription key, and then you can play around here itself. You can just play around here, and then you can see the output immediately here. You can just play around, and then you can pass the values, and then you can just use it. Let's see how to, I will tell you how to use this. Okay, these are the parameters, and you can pass the subscription key, and then pass in any URL of your image, and then click on it. You will see the result immediately. The same thing we're going to do it in our application here. So we already have API. So we need a key. Basically, we need a key there to connect to that Face API. So I'm having a key here, okay, which I already provided in my example here. You can see it, right? I'm already having a key, and also I have mentioned the endpoint, which is the endpoint. This is a Bishop Face AI Cognitive Service API, and this given the endpoint also. What is going to happen here? It is going to connect to that services. It's going to take some images, and then it's going to tell what are the different aspects of that face. Let's see. It's a Windows application. So I'm just create a simple Windows application here. Yeah, here we have. Okay, so I'm going to browse it. I have locally, I have some few images I already downloaded and kept it for the session. I hope you are able to see it. I'll just maybe maximize it. Okay, so this is a pretty simple. Go back here. Okay, you can see here, right? So it's a pretty a man is a businessman who's pretty old, maybe being in the 70s or 80s. We have some couple of images. We're going to throw this image to that, let's say, the service, and see how it is predicts and how it is give us the prediction analysis. Okay, let's go back and select this image. It is processing. Yeah, we got it. You can see it is exactly identified here. When I hover on the mouse, please note down here in the bottom in my taskbar, you just note down here. When I hover on it, it says face is male. It's calculating, it's approximately telling it's 72 years. And smile is 18%, happiness is 18%, which he's neutral, and reading glasses. He has a glass in his hands. Hair bald is 88%. Obviously, he lost his hair. Okay, let's take some other example. Let's take a female. He's a girl. You can see here, right? It exactly produces at 22. 2. It's a female. Smile is 56%. Emotion, is 21. Happiness is 56. No glasses. Hair bald is 3%. Obviously, you have a full hair. So you can see here, right? We didn't spend much time on writing an algorithms on many aspects. We are only leveraging the Azure, AA face detections, algorithm in the cloud itself. So let's take one more guy. It's a small boy. Yeah, you can see a male, 6 years, smile is 100%. He's so happy. You can see it is exactly predicted it, right? So you can see, right? So within a few minutes, I didn't spend time and I didn't do research or anything, spend much time on it. Within a few minutes, I'm able to use the face detection API, and then I'm able to see all those things. Let's go to the next one, the computer vision. Okay, so the next one is the computer vision. Let's go back here. The same way, if you go back to my the subscription, create new resources under the AI and machine learning, we have one more service called computer vision. This is the next level of the face. It's not only the faces. You can create a new name, which I already created. The same thing I already have created in my one of the group. So here you can see I have the computer vision also already created one. You can see Visual Computer Vision AI. I'm going to use this one again. This is the next level. So what it does, right? It is going to see the person, who it is. It's going to predict who it is. It's also going to predict the landmarks and those aspects actually. So let's go to the next example for the computer vision. So here I'm just using a different flavor of the example. The same way, we need a key here. Okay, so to connect to that service, the key is I already having it passing as a variable parameter. Okay, you can see the Bishop Computer Vision here endpoint, and we're going to use the analysis, basically the analysis. So computer vision and analysis methodology here. So let's see what is the analysis method does actually. We have multiple methods are there, but we're going to do only the analysis. Here you can see, right, these are the input parameters. What are the visual features you're looking for this from this image? You want to predict whether it's an adult or it is, you want to categorize this, what you want to find the colors, faces, objects, image types. You want the details, whether you want to identify he is a celebrity or is a landmark. So those are the input parameters we are giving back to this analyze API. Let's run this application, okay? This is a console application. The previous one we saw it as a Windows application. Here we're going to see the console application. Basically, we're going to, it's like a, let me expand this. Okay. I'm having, I told you, right, I have many local images are there. You can see here, let's take our traditional Tanjore Brihadishwar temple. I'm going to pass this temple, it's a temple, normal temple. I'm going to pass this temple to that, AI, computer vision AI. And let's see what it does and then what is the magic it does for us. It's the image is taken and it is sending to the cloud, let's say the cloud, the Azure Computer Vision cloud, and it just gives back the data as a JSON. It is another way of, let's say, processing the data. We have the data. So it's a pretty JSON data. The normal human eyes, you cannot be able to predict it. So we are using an online version of JSON formatter. I'm going to, side by side, I'm going to open this temple as well as here. You can see here, right? So we got the categories. You can see it says a building and it is exactly predicted as a Brihadishwar temple. And it is brown and other descriptions like it is a church, it's a standing and it is pretty old, a large, and it's in a caption also, a large building with the Brihadishwar temple in the background. Okay, let's take another example here. So we do have here some legends here. So from the Microsoft, he's, Satya Nadella, Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer, who's the successor of the Bill Gates. So let's pass this image and see whether it's able to predict the humans, basically the celebrities who are there outside. Okay, I'm going to enter. Run this application again. Yep, we got the main result. Let's open parallelly. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. You can see it has a categorization as being outdoor. It's an outdoor. And it has a categorized as peoples. These are the peoples, celebrities. Steve Ballmer. Okay, Satya Nadella, and here's the face rectangles also. You have the coordinates. Using the coordinates, you can programmatically, what I did is in the Windows application, you can have the coordinate, you can mark it also. You have the Bill Gates, and you can see here, right, it is given the caption properly. Satya Nadella, Bill Gates, and Steve Ballmer posing for a photo. So it's predicted the celebrities also, it also predicts the landmarks, right? Okay. Let's go to the next one. I think we are running out of time. Okay, let's do some interesting, the final demo, the interesting one. We're going to use the Azure Speech Services. So I already, the same way, I am already having my the speech services enabled. All you need to do is go and search for speech, because that is not there in the default available. So you can see here it's speech here. Yeah, you need to go and create the speech AI, which I already created in my in my resource group. I have a service created for the cognitive service of the speech. Here we have speech AI. So the same way, I'm going to use the key and I'm going to leverage it. Okay. Let's close this one and then quickly run the final example. So this is again a simple Windows application. I have been using the application. It states your subscription key, and it's going to connect to the specific region. You can see our service is running in the East US location. Okay, so let's maximize this. So this is my subscription key, which I got, which I have here. Copy this, and I'm passing the subscription key here to my, so it is saved it. So these are the settings. So where is my service is running in East US? What is the language I'm going to speak? I'm going to speak English because we don't have other languages, right? So I'm going to speak some English language. I'm going to talk something now. So what it is going to does, right? So it is automatically going to convert my conversation into French, right? So what is the language you want to just talk, basically pronounce in it. So we don't take Chinese, right? We will take it as English. Okay? So I'm going to talk now, and I'm going to, so that whatever I spoke, it is going to become here, and then and it will, it's going to pronounce exactly in the target language. Okay, okay, I think the audio is there. So just somebody raise me if you don't hear it. Okay, so I'm going to talk now. I'm going to start it. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, let's stop it. Okay. So,
Okay.
Let's be in the French. Okay. So my target language is English. I'm going to targeting the two languages in French, and the voice also French. Good morning.
Bonjour.
How are you?
Comment vas-tu?
Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup.
Can we have a coffee?
On peut prendre un café.
I hope you have heard it here, right? So whenever I say, let's say I don't know French, but I want to communicate something. So when I say the good morning, the obvious French version is bonjour. When I say how are you, it's command master. And thank you very much. Normally they thank you very much. They say merci beaucoup. So you can see, right? It's exactly predicted. Let's try the German version. That's how it is good German. Okay. So let's start the translation again.
Beenden Sie die Übersetzung erneut.
Good morning.
Guten Morgen.
How are you?
Wie geht es dir?
Thank you.
Vielen Dank.
Okay, let's stop it here. So you see the power here, right? So it is very easy. If at all you want to come up with this kind of a service, or maybe algorithm, you want to write it, it is going to take, it's going to be a huge project, but you can leverage these services and then you can do many things here. We just touched only a tip of the iceberg, I would say. There are many services out there. With the short time, we are not able to cover many things, but with the capability in the AI side, and the machine learning is a separate category itself. So they have many services there, so you can easily leverage it. And final thing I want to just share, please go to this site. It's a Microsoft Learning site. The good thing about Microsoft, it is not a closed, or it is not like other companies. helps this, any students or a developer or any professionals, take any topic, it will help you to learn and then scale up very faster. Okay, so let's say if I want to customize part, let's say I'm a developer. You guys are right now, you want to be the next step is a developer, right? So let's say a developer, I'm going to be a beginner. I want to learn .NET. Okay, let's click on the next button. It will give you the complete recommendations. Here you can see the complete recommendations here. Take a first steps to the C#, how to publish a web application to Azure, how to learn, let's say, a programming, how to do a logic in your applications. Lot of steps are there. Everything is free. So all you need is a Microsoft account, and then you can explore, and then you can learn on the fly. Any Microsoft technologies, you take Dynamics, Azure, or anything, you have the the learning here. Everything is video as well as the theory. So it is very nice to learn from here. Many things even I used to refer here. I strongly recommend and I request you to go and visit this site and start spending some time on learning for your future. Thank you so much. I think if you have any questions, we can go for the question session. So I have a quiz here. I'm going to share this quiz to everybody. So based on the session, what I have took now, I have just created it. So this is the code. You please go to the quiz.com. Here I have the link here. So join this, enter this code, and then please start. And so we have some questions I have created. That is basically based on the presentation what I have given today. So try to answer it and then give your suggestion, valuable suggestion to the this quiz. Thank you so much.
Dear participants, do you have any queries? You can post the queries in the chat box. Dear participants, we request you to join in the quiz. The link is given in the chat box. The code.
Okay, let me put in the chat window. Maybe some of you can try the link also. Yeah, I have given the URL in the chat window. I think I'll starting it. Okay. Yeah, I'm stopping it.
அவரா பண்ணுமா? The question.
Sir, that is a question for you. Although the cloud computing is very much effective, why security is getting easily breached, sir? How to enhance the security service?
Okay, so that's a very good question. See, let's say any service provider who do let's say, I mean, a very high level of security on their premises. When we go for any services, they do a high level of security there. Sometimes what happens, right, when in the crowd, when the hybrid scenarios, the on-premises, there is a chances of breaches through from there on-premises, either from the user sides also. So, I mean, let's take an example. Recently in the Twitter, there is a post getting, happened where, let's say from the, Amazon, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, top, even from, let's say many celebrities, it started posting, tweet. So the problem, when they go back and check the problem, right? So that is a new way of attack. So what happens, right? They compromised with the predictable, let's say passwords from the users itself. So let's say when your on-premises users are using some predictive password like a PWD12345, that can be easily predictable, and then it can be easily accessed through by the external users. So there are a lot of aspects out there, but the chances of getting let's say the data exposed or maybe getting hacked on the let's say on the cloud, it is very thin actually.
Sir, again there is a query. Mention what is the difference between elasticity and scalability in cloud computing.
Okay, let's take the scalable, right? Let's take our same example, the same example of the PaaS, the platform as a service, what we did. So we created a web application and then deployed it, and you see chances of a lot of users are getting in. So you get a lot of hit. And you see this there are reported by users saying that there is a slowness on the websites. So what you can do, right, when you don't need to do any specific, all you need to just go and increase your capacity, basically the incoming and outgoing request of your website. That will be pretty easy. Let's take one more example for the scalable options. So when you are hosting some application in a traditional way of in a virtual machines, so you cannot always go with the single virtual machines. So sometimes
Sir, your audio is being muted.
okay, where did I lost him? And maybe where did it got muted? Can I start from the beginning?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's take an example for the scalable options. Okay, the scalability basically, right? Let's take an example instead of going to the theory. So I'm having two VMs, and there are some two applications are running. The single application, but it's a load balancing in the two VMs. So that application is in the cloud, and it is let's say it's a shopping application. Users are coming in, and you are exposing or maybe giving a discount on your website. Suddenly there is a huge surge in your applications, and you see there is a complaint that application is saying 404 or application is not available. So you cannot go and add a new rack or maybe a new server to your thing. So that's not possible. It will take at least a week or maybe many days to do that. But in the cloud, right, you can easily scale from 2 VMs to the third VM, or maybe these 2 VMs can be scaled up, adding extra cores and extra RAMs and the storage capacity, and you can increase the bandwidth. So that's why we can just increase the scalability of our application. So within a few clicks, you can do it. Either it can be done by manual, or you can do something called in the virtual machines called virtual machine scale set. When you are creating a virtual machine scale set itself, you can mention when the CPU thresholds goes beyond 60%, you increase my VM to one more. Let's say add one more VM. Okay, there is a more common with even the 3 VMs having a threshold of 60% of VM, create a one more VM. So this happens automatically based on it. So whenever there is the request or maybe the demands comes down, it automatically Azure or the cloud service provider, what it does, they automatically scrap the other VMs and come back to the default 2 VMs. So that is all about the scalability. So you have the scalability there. The elasticity is nothing but basically right. When the resources parts are the same thing what I mentioned. I hope it has answered your question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation you have given. Now I request Tamre Selviman, Head of MCA Department, to share few words.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Okay, sir, do you
Sorry for the
remember me?
interruption.
No
Ma'am,
problem.
sorry for the interruption. What about the
Yes.
quiz? What about the quiz, ma'am? We have answered the quiz,
Yes, ma'am, once again, just hold
which
on,
is
ma'am.
okay.
After ma'am feedback, we can see.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Kasturi, is it okay, Kasturi? Is it
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay? Am I visible and audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I'm so happy to see you. I mean, I still remember you. When you are in my academic, I mean, I still remember you. And it's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good
yeah.
to see
That's
you
what. Do
after
you
a long
remember
time.
me? I
Yes,
wanted to
yes,
ask
ma'am.
you. Do you remember me?
Yes, ma'am, I remember it. I wrote, I mean, even in 2008 or 9, I think I came for it to get my certificates. Even that time we spoke about, I mean, from some time I remember, I guess. It's a
Oh,
great
thank
pleasure
you.
to see you back. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank you so much. And your session was wow, extraordinary, well explained, very informative. Thank you. God has given you such a position and knowledge to you, ma. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes. And now, where are you now, ma?
Right now I'm in Bangalore. I mean, I
nice.
started my career in Chennai, and then in 2013 I just moved to Bangalore, and
Okay.
yeah, I'm staying here with my family.
Oh, nice to hear you. And God bless you. It's very interesting, and I'm very happy to see you today. And
Even
thank you so much for sparing your valuable time with us today, from today morning from 11 o'clock to this, and giving a wonderful session. God bless you, ma.
thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
And
Next
even
time, try.
I'm so much thrilled.
Yeah.
I'm so much thrilled actually, right? I'm getting a vibe like, I mean, coming back as an alumni, coming back and then sharing my knowledge. It's a good feel actually. Thank you so much for letting me have a session.
Yeah. We'll keep in touch. And next time when you come to Trichy, please meet us.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma. Bye. Thank you, Kasturi, for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your valuable feedback.
Okay, bye.
Sir, shall you show me the results of the quiz, sir?
Okay.
Because participants are much eager to know the results.
Okay. Let me check. One second.
Gratitude is the sign of noble souls. May I now request Assistant Professor Dr. C. Madhumati, ma'am, to pay the gratitude through vote of thanks. Over to you, ma'am.
First of all, I would like to thank the God Almighty for His blessings on us that made this webinar run well without any hindrance. A leader makes his people from where they are to where they have not been. Let me thank our beloved Principal Sir, Dr. D. Pal Dayabaran, for motivating and supporting us to conduct this webinar. Leadership is unlocking people's potential to become better. A special mention and thanks to my head of the department, Dr. James Manokaran Sir, for motivating and guiding me throughout the webinar and trusting me that I can handle such a webinar in a very successful manner. Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Skill is knowing how to do it, and virtue is doing it. My heartfelt thanks to our today's resource person, Mr. K. Arun Mariappan, for sharing his knowledge and infusing cloud computing services and artificial intelligence in Microsoft Azure, which brings out the real flavors in providing a real-time exposure on deploying a virtual mission and also using the artificial intelligence cognitive services of Microsoft Azure. Special thanks to all the organizing secretaries who worked and helped me throughout the webinar on and off the screens. And also extend my gratitude to my colleagues from my very own DCA department who spread this webinar flyer and made this happen. Also, a special mention to my student organizers Anwar and Lokesh for chipping in with design works. I would extend my thanks to the IT support of my college for providing all the technical facilities for this webinar. Last but not the least, I express my gratitude to all the faculty members and students from various colleges and my college, and also the industrial professionals who are all the active participants of today's webinar for your kind cooperation and enthusiastic support. Hope you have gained some knowledge. Do spread the knowledge, what you gain. Knowledge is to share, where it multiplies, as you all know. I pray Almighty to make us come over from the present pandemic and resume our work as usual so soon. Stay home, stay safe. Hope to see this caption born sooner. Happy learning. Have a tantalizing Thursday and a healthy life ahead. Thank you, participants. Thank you all.
Okay, let me share the quiz feedback. I think many of you are eager about that. Let me share about it. Yeah, this is that. Sorry about my name because I don't able to go into the dashboard unless I finish the question. So yeah, I think Vishwa is the person who I think he scored a lot. I mean, congratulations to him, and then Lokeshwaran and Shamla, all of the three tops are there. I mean, and many other folks are just tried a lot. That's very, very good actually.
Okay, thank you, sir, for sharing this. Thank you for the winners of the quiz. And you can also use this quiz on all these for our online teaching classes. It's why as shared. Any other queries from the audience?
Hello, madam. Next time in the feedback, you include some professor also. You are starting only from the associate professor.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Because actually, okay, I also did my PhD in Bhardas University, Tirchi.
Yes, sir.
Ganapati.
Yes, sir.
In cloud computing only, security in cloud computing. Now I'm the director for computer science and engineering.
Yes, sir.
In Hyderabad. I worked 24 years in VIT University, Vellore.
Yes, sir.
My student Kannamal is there in Coimbatore and all. So I saw that feedback forum. Just include some other designations also.
Yes, sir. We'll definitely include it further, sir.
I would like to say thanks to your speaker. Very excellently. The very first time I've seen a speaker speaking in the cloud very clearly, understanding way, because I've seen many things, but the people just talk blah, 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 blah. But this man, I think I should appreciate him. And if possible, I'm going to invite him to my institution. And I'm working in Hyderabad Sri Institute of Science and Technology. So please kindly share your email and all, so that it is a pleasure to me, because students likes these type of the seminars. It is not like that showing what we have the talent. It is just like that, making them to speak very neatly, slowly, and making them to understand. Today you did a very extraordinary work. I'm Dr. Srimanarayana Iyengar, director. No, don't say namaste. No issue.
Thank
Always
you so much, sir.
learn people are always, because I know.
Thank you so much for your feedback,
The very
sir.
first time itself, I saw that, okay, but very nice. I'm very, very happy.
Thank you so much, sir.
Because on the other side, I'm also listening my student Annapurna Janalgada in AICT. Yes, she is reading the paper. We don't want reading the paper. We want the others to understand that you have done excellently. Really, may God bless you. And you should do like this. Okay?
Sure, sir. Thank you so much for your feedback. That means a lot to me.
My age is 61 years. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I given my email ID here. You can just
Can
contact
you
to my.
share your email ID and all, so that
Yeah.
if possible, we can have one day webinar along with it to my students, because I'm
Sure.
heading the e-scheme also. So we would like to have.
Sure. I shared my email ID in the chat window.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
When anybody can,
Please remember, my name is Dr. Srimanarayana Iyengar.
okay.
Actually, I'm not opening my video because I don't have. I'm just in puja, so I came suddenly.
Okay.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So
Thank you. Also very well. They should bring people like you, because we want
Thank
the
you.
people like you. Right, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So it's for all actually. So if you have any doubts or if you have any guidance, please feel free to contact me. I'll try my level best and then I reply back to the your queries.
Aruna Jai, no, your email is Arun.
It's arunjai@gmail.com.
Okay, sir. I'll write for this email ID. I'm also organizing a national conference, September 5th. Most probably I may contact you. Right,
Sure.
sir? As
Sure.
a speaker.
Okay. Thank you.
Chief guest and keynote speaker, I will for 1 hour.
Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, welcome.
Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome, madam. You know, very nice you're organizing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your valuable suggestions and the feedback, sir.
Any queries from the participants?
Okay, shall we wind up the session? I request all the participants to fill the feedback form which has been posted in chat box. You will receive the webinar participation e-certificate shortly after the feedback response is submitted. Thank you.